We're good. All right. So I think we're going to go ahead and start. There are a lot of people on here and there is a large gallery. So if I can ask Nikki Champagne, I'm trying to find you. There you are. You want to wave and say hello. I'm going to unmute you. And then I'm also looking for Heather. There she is. I'm going to unmute you too, Heather. And then I know Miss Donnelly is here. So for those new parents that were not able to attend our previous sessions, I just want to let Miss Donnelly have a minute. Miss Donnelly, can you unmute yourself or do you need me to?
My gallery, sweetie, I don't know how to use this at all.
Miss Donnelly, do you want to take just 1 minute and say good evening? I just unmuted you. Or maybe I didn't.
Jan, it might be the wrong Shannon.
Okay, I'm
Click on the picture.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon Donnelly, the principal of Essex North Shore. Thank you for joining the third ninth grade parent session. Thank you to Ms. Gain for organizing all of these. They've been, I think, very helpful for families of our incoming ninth graders. I also wanted to thank the 4 parents who are helping out tonight. Insight about what it means to be an Essex North Shore parent. So these are 4 of our best. So I appreciate you all giving up a summer night to help us out. So I just wanted to say a quick hello, and then I'm actually going to leave the meeting because I don't want to derail with a bunch of admin related questions, and I'll just let you, talk to the parents and hear from the parents, and then Ms. Gain will be there to help guide any questions. So I guess that's all. So have a great meeting, and we look forward to seeing you in person very soon.
Thank you, Miss Donnelly.
Hi, Shannon.
Bye.
And Dr. Riccio, are you on yet? If you are, you could unmute yourself.
I'm here.
There she is.
How is everyone? Thank you. Just again, like Shannon, I just wanted to welcome everyone and say thank you so much for all of your support so far. I know we have an interesting year ahead of us, but interesting does not mean that our kids are not going to learn, and we are not going to work hard to make sure that they are serviced in whatever model we end up going to. So I too am not going to stay on the meeting because I have the gift of gab when I kissed the Blarney Stone a few years ago when I went to Ireland. So I'd like to just kind of keep my mouth shut and let the PTO parents handle it. But we have a wonderful PTO. We hope that you will consider volunteering. Many people say that as kids get older, they need less. I like to think that they actually need more because kids tend to drop out in grade 10, and having parents as partners are critical. So the parents that we have that have kind of refurbished our PTO are phenomenal. They volunteer, they get fundraisers going, they help us really in many aspects, so they can really, and I think all of the kids are in different programs, so they can definitely lend an ear to any questions that you have. But have a blast. Thank you, Ms. Skeen, for coordinating these new student information sessions, and obviously Joe, our Director of Technology, Marino, for actually making the technology happen. So I am going to go take a quick walk on the beach with my husband before I have to do some more work. But thank you, everyone. I wish you well, and I cannot wait to meet your kids.
Thank you, Dr. Riccio.
Thank you.
So as promised, tonight is from the parents to the parents. One thing I can say as an administrator of this school, and Joe, I hope that you'll echo this, and I know I saw Miss Norris on here, there may be some more staff on here, that we are very blessed to have such a wonderful parent community that really helps us to be I think the first night I said that welcome to Essex Tech family, and that we really are a family. And that is that because we not only have wonderful students, but we have parents that really stand behind those students, the success of all of our students. And I kind of handpicked for the perfect parents tonight, because these are people that have gotten very involved in the school. And we would not be who we are without them. So I want to, I'll let them wave and say hello one more time, but I'm going to turn it over to them. I'm just going to go by how I see you on my screen. So first is Kelly Anderson, and Kelly has had 2 students at the school. Kelly actually approached me a couple years ago now, Kelly, and we were talking about doing a 5K, and we have served on a committee together where we met almost every Monday for 2 years, and we laugh a lot. But we hosted our first annual 5K last year, and we were very successful. Thanks to, in no part, Kelly. Kelly has students, her kids were both involved in athletics and the co-op program, so she brings a nice wide variety background. Lisa Pace has been with us, I don't know, through thick and thin. She serves on the school council. She has been part of our integration team, our CTAC integration. You already have been invited, that we do a lot of integrated projects where we look at career technical education and our academic education, and how can we fuse those two together into real world authentic problems for students to solve. And Lisa has been really instrumental for us in that. And every time we need an expert, I would say, we reach out to her, and she always gives us really good advice. So we can't say thank you enough, Lisa. We have Nikki and Heather, if you want to wave hi. Nikki and Heather are the co-presidents of our PTO. I have to say, I've been in high school education for 24 years, and never until we came to Essex Tech and merged the school have I seen such a strong high school parent-teacher organization. And these 2 ladies really have, they're the backbone of it. And they put a lot of time and energy in making sure that parents are such an instrumental part of our school. So with no further gushing over all 4 of these people, I am going to turn it over to you guys. I will work the slides. We put a very small slideshow together, and then it's going to be a Q&A. So as parents, you can ask parents questions. So the very first slide, let me just figure out how to move this. There we go. I don't know if you want to take it away, Lisa, Kelly, Heather. But these are some of the ways that I thought of getting involved. If you guys can think of other ways, please feel free to share.
Other ways to get involved in the school?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I can think of is, just because we were so involved with sports, is being a parent of an athlete at the school, no matter what it is. My oldest daughter, who just graduated, did both cheer and gymnastics, and I think that kind of allows you to branch out, especially being such a big school that, there's so many communities involved. You get to meet not only the kids, but the parents from other towns too. So if any of your kids are athletes or future athletes, it's definitely a good thing to be involved in, and just, kind of stay on top of everything.
Sorry. Heather, while I have you, the next slide is actually on the PTO. Can you talk a little bit about the PTO and how to get involved? And Nikki, will you jump in as well?
Yeah, so anyone can be involved in the PTO. We actually would love and encourage more parents to join. Typically, when we have our meetings, we really only have like a few extra people show up that aren't already on the board. Having the extra parent input, suggestions, ideas, and then also volunteering to help with some of the things that the school does, which you guys will learn more about, but like Hawk Holiday Hope is definitely a huge one. The decorating and all that we do of the whole school, we need as many volunteers as possible. But with COVID happening, I don't know what's going to happen for meetings. We typically met at the beginning of the year, we started on the first Tuesday of the month, but then we moved it to the second Tuesday, or the other way around now. I can't remember, it's been so long. I'm not sure what's going to happen, obviously, with COVID, so we may have to do our meetings through Zoom. So we'll just have to see, but helping out in any way you can, even if you can't make it to every meeting, it's okay. If you can make it sporadically, that's fine. The input, the volunteering, any of that stuff is super helpful to us. So some of the things that we do, the homecoming was obviously the first thing that came up, because that's the very beginning of the year. Again, with COVID, I don't know if we're going to be doing that. But basically it's just, we ran the concession stand at the football field last year, and sold food and snacks and drinks, and that's just a fundraiser for us, and all the money that we raise goes back to the school, to the kids, to the teachers, and it, everything that we raise is all the more that we can give back. So the second big thing was Hawk Holiday Hope, and that's in December. Again, with COVID, who knows if that's going to happen, but basically I think that Miss Gain can share a lot more of it too, because I've been participating in it for 4 years now, as my senior just graduated, but it's something that the school does, that they adopt kids from DCF, if I'm not correct, and everybody donates items. Classrooms get assigned a child or 2 children, and items are donated, and then they have this huge rally. It's basically an all-day thing in the gym, and it is, all of the gifts are bundled together during like a little get-together. There's singing, there's dancing, there's ugly sweater contests, and then everything is packaged up on a big 18-wheeler and sent out. So it's a whole day of fun for the kids, and that's something that the PTO decorates the night before. Basically the entranceway, the hallways, throughout the gym, Christmas, trees, like holiday trees, all that good stuff, inflatables. So it's a really fun time. And the PTO also sponsors usually 2 kids, plus we also give money to the school to give to Essex kids who need kind of a little help at Christmas time as well. This year, our online auction was, one of our big fundraisers was affected. It was supposed to be the Taste of Essex, and it was affected because of COVID. We had to cancel it altogether. But we did have a lot of donations from the community, restaurants and businesses, gift cards and raffle items. So we were actually able to still do an online auction. And we raised over $3,500, which is amazing during such a crazy time, which allowed us to give more in scholarships this year. So typically the PTO does about 1,000 to 4 kids, a total of 1,000 to 4 kids. This year we did 2,000. And they can use that, the graduating seniors, towards books or, whatever they might need for college. And then the other thing we did is an entire week of teacher appreciation. And since COVID was going on, we couldn't be at the school to serve them breakfast like planned. But every day we actually did a drawing for typically, I think, between 3 to 5 teachers out of a hat, and they won gift cards. And then at the very end of the school year, we were actually able to do something for all of the bus drivers, as well as the 2 transportation people, the director and organizer and everything. So it's great because you can meet new people, but give back too in a big way to the school, and just help out where help is needed. Nikki, do you have anything to add?
I'll take over the next part about how to get involved. So we really, really need all the help that we can get. We have a core group that is very devoted, but we need more. We always need more. We need more. We need your talent. We need your connections. Every little bit helps. So what we've done this year is we've tried to be really active on social media. Many of you may already know some of our Facebook pages. So we do have a PTO page on Facebook. We post all updates there, meetings, if there's any meeting changes. We post announcements about events. We often post volunteer opportunities. So everything is there. And also we have a page for the class of 2024. There are also pages for every class at the school. So go, if you have children in other grades, go look those up because those are there as well. But definitely join the class of 2024 on Facebook, so not to miss anything. And I just really encourage you all to come and join us. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, the class pages are great. It was something that we added this year because the general page and the unofficial page is very helpful at times, but it's every class's information all at once, where especially as freshmen, you're going to have things, dates and upcoming things for like the co-ops and the changing of schedules and all of that are going to be unique to freshmen. So if you look there, instead of trying to weed through all of the, questions and comments on the general page, it's very helpful. And we try to post as much of the information as soon as we have it as possible. And it just keeps everything organized. And of course, if you have questions, if you have a freshman, go to the class of 2024 page and you can ask the parents those questions too. Or if it's something directly related to academics or the school in general, then I would suggest emailing the school directly. But if it's more of a parent question or something like from experience, then definitely go to the 2024 page.
Those are good tips. Let's see, Lisa, I think you were the one who added some of these tips and advice. Do you want to share with us some of what you were thinking?
Sure. So I will ad lib just a little bit and share with you one of the things that I found, and depending on what type of a schooling background your child came from before joining Essex Tech, one of the things that I found to be so specifically impressive and yet almost a little breathtaking as a parent was the messaging that I continued to get as my first child came into the school that talked about the fact that this was going to be her education and that it was her responsibility to receive that education and to participate in the school and to create her destiny, if you will. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the most spectacular thing. I have no idea how they're going to do this, but I am 100% on board supporting this. That my children came from a smaller school, a private school, I would argue somewhat of a coddled environment by some of the parents, which was lovely for what it was. But to then transition into the, well, here you go, darling. Here is your future. It is yours to create. Was a little bit of a transition for all of us. And I think that one of the ways that if you're starting to feel like, wow, my child is getting a lot of the communication, I have questions because they are still young adults and need guidance. I think one of the best ways for you to tamp down a little bit of that stress level or have some of those questions answered just in general conversation is to certainly get involved in the school. Obviously, Heather and Nikki were kind enough to talk more specifically about the PTO. I think the PTO is truly the glue that binds and is some of the events, I say this in the manner that I'm saying it because I actually happen to not be involved in the PTO. Sorry, ladies. I'm involved in a few other endeavors, but so I say this as an outsider. The PTO is really the glue that binds. That Hawk Holiday Hope and so many of the other events that the PTO puts on within the school create such bonding moments for the students. And not only the students to one another, but also the students to the staff, to the administration, to the leadership. In some cases, you'll find that there is, and I have to use this word carefully, so please correct me, Jen, with the community. And so by the community, I don't mean, oh, look, there's somebody walking down the street, let's invite them into the school. These are people that are professionals that may be part of the program advisory committee, which you may or may not have covered in another presentation, Jen, I don't know. But
I have not.
so the Program Advisory Committee, if I may, is a group of people that are in businesses that are somewhat connected to the specific CTE areas. So your specific career technical areas. These could be people, so for instance, advanced manufacturing would have a manufacturer, the plumbing side would have a plumber. The health side could have a physician or a nurse practitioner or things like this. So these are people that are truly in the industry that can provide insight, that can provide stories and certainly guidance to the students, but also in addition to that, provide guidance to the staff and certainly to the school as a whole. So that's a really important piece of what happens at the school. So pay attention for that a little bit. You'll hear more about that as time goes on. I would say take a look at the websites, the website, if you will. Take a look at the various Facebook pages. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And see, you will be inundated with emails that talk about different committees or different opportunities for you to be involved. And it can be something as simple as participating on a committee, attending a committee meeting. If you're not someone that wants to be the doer, but you want to be the recipient of the information, attend the meeting and listen. There is an amazing amount of information that you can gather even by attending a school committee meeting, which is a public event. Many of these meetings are open to the public. Many of these committees, you are available or able, I should say, and potentially available to go ahead and participate in. I happen to sit with the Parent Advisory Council. So what that is that's a group of administrators, it's a group of parents, it's a group of teachers, and a group of students that meets generally on a monthly basis, a bi-monthly basis, excuse me, and we go through what is happening with the school. Updates as to progress within the school, progress within any changes to whether it be academics or CTE, progress with if it's budget season, how is the budget moving through, any updates or information that might be important for us to know as it relates to the school committee itself, anything that's happening with admissions, this CTAC program that I was involved with, which one of the things that you'll find once you start to get involved, if you haven't already, with Essex Tech, is that I feel like everything's an acronym. So bear with us. We will translate as much of them as we possibly can. But in English, the CTAC was basically a group of people. I was fortunate enough to participate in this. It was driven by, it was presented by the school by function of going out and accessing a grant. And there was a team that was put together of parents, of teachers, of students, and the bulk of the team was actually the students. It was quite student-led. And our task for this particular grant was to go ahead, one piece of it was to go ahead and take a look at how do we marry the academic side of the world. So your children are going to have 5 days of academics, then they're going to have 5 days of initially the exploratory and then eventually their career choice. How do you marry these two? And what are some projects that we could creatively come up with that would in fact connect, let's use an easy one, plumbing and math. But if you look at something like microbiology and English, that could be a little bit more challenging. And so it was very fascinating to see how we could bridge. And I think that in as much as I'm not explaining this over particularly thoroughly, it gives you just a small taste of just how progressive Essex Tech is. You know, I think every single one of us who has had the opportunity to have our child be accepted to Essex Tech in some way feels like we won the lottery, the academic, the life skills lottery. And the school could probably leave everything alone and we'd all be happy as clams. We really would be, because we just, they're doing a great job. They could continue to do just that great job. And in 4 years, our children would graduate and we'd still just be happy as we could be. The best part, one of the best parts of the school is that, to a certain degree, I don't want to use a negative term, but they're not satisfied with where they are. They're always looking forward. They're always looking to see, okay, this is really good, but how can we go ahead and make that better? And oftentimes, I will tell you that those ideas, although potentially at times are prompted by the staff or by the teachers, are often brought by the students. And then, in fact, the teachers, for lack of a better term, become the bumpers on the bowling alley, and the students get to run with their ideas and come up with all of these really creative solutions, which is just such a beautiful thing to watch. So I'm off track a little bit, but that's one of the greatest things that I find with the school itself. I would say one of the fun things that the kids really like to do, especially as freshmen, is go ahead and attend the football games or any sporting events, the basketball games, the volleyball games, the soccer games, the plays. We have a very dedicated group that is quite involved in putting together these plays. And I think that it's just such a beautiful creation that so many of us are able to see these students on stage just lighting up in a way that maybe you haven't seen your child do any beforehand. So any way that you can find yourself on that campus, goodness knows it's a gorgeous campus, I would invite you to please do so. I would also say Aspen and the other resources that are on the Essex Tech website are they are extraordinarily robust. Jen, hop back one for me. They're extraordinarily robust, and there are so many answers that are actually sitting right on that page for you. Yes, it can seem overwhelming. Yes, it can seem like it's an awful lot of information. But I would say, first stop, go to families. Very often you can get some of your answers right there. Your ability to communicate with the teachers through your students or even on your own in certain circumstances, it can be found through the Aspen portal. So I would certainly welcome you. If you have questions, first go to your student, because that's absolutely the way that the school runs. They want to hear, they want to empower our students to become really meaningful participants in the community and advocates for themselves by the time they are able to graduate. So maybe you help them write the email a little bit the first time, but let them send the email. You'll be surprised at the smile that they may have on their face once they hit send and they get an answer. But certainly, without a doubt, if you have questions and you're not getting answers from your student, use the academic advisors, use the academic offices, and go ahead and shoot an email out to your contacts. I will tell you, I have yet in my 6+ years of being associated with Essex Tech ever sent a message and not received an answer. Sometimes it's not the answer I want, but that's okay too. It's an honest answer, and that's what I like about it. I would also say, as the ladies mentioned before, they have the Facebook pages. So there's a variety of Facebook pages. So you have the official Essex Tech Facebook page. Then you have the unofficial Essex Tech Facebook page. Then you have the Essex Tech PTO page. Then you have each class has their own page. I would say you certainly are very, we can answer that question in just a second from John and Carrie. I think that says, I'm not wearing my glasses, I'm sorry. You're gonna get some very specific information about how to log into Aspen. When you are on the Facebook page, I would encourage you, certainly go ahead and ask questions, but do remember that especially if you're on the unofficial page, that very often the answers that you're getting are going to be coming from other parents who, I would argue, as wonderful as we all are, as much as we love our children, we may not be the subject matter experts when it comes to whatever question you may have. So if you have specific question, if it's a generalized question, I would absolutely encourage you. If you have a specific question, if you have a particularly personal question or a personal situation, then I would say reach right out to the school. If it's something that's going to be inciting, then I would say definitely reach out to the school. Because often there is information out there that we aren't always privy to as parents. The school is very, very on top of things. I think we probably can hop to the next page, Jen. Absolutely, the school is on top of things, and they are very aware of situations. And it doesn't matter what school you are in. There's always going to be some sort of a situation. Your child may come home with a story, and that may surprise you a bit. Feel comfortable knowing that I truly have never in my life met a group of administrators or staff or teachers that are more in tune or in touch with what is happening with the boots on the street. So without a doubt, even if they are not able, due to privacy reasons or because the information, all of the information has not been gathered yet in a particular situation, so that they can go ahead and make an appropriate and factual decision, and therefore then they will share the information with us in a public forum, that the school very often is completely on top of a situation. But if you're not completely sure and you're concerned, I would call the school and ask, and they will give you whatever information that they possibly can. But much like anything in life, there are various privacy rules. So we have to be slightly respectful of the fact that they can't give us the whole soup to nuts on certain situations.
One thing I would add to that is I know at the beginning of every year, there's always an onslaught of messages on the unofficial page about buses, transportation, problems with it.
Sure.
The transportation director is amazing, and she actually has her personal cell phone on the website if for some reason it's after hours and she's no longer in the school. If there is a problem that needs to be addressed immediately, she's very reachable. So rather than going on to the unofficial page or the class page and posting a problem about your bus, you know, being an hour late or what have you, I would suggest reaching directly out to the transportation person.
Sure. I would agree with that 100%. And also, I would say each year what we do is we go through the first couple weeks with a couple kinks, and then everything settles out. So a little bit of patience, and certainly, you know, everything does settle out with the busing without it, absolutely without question. So very, very good point, Heather. Thanks. Also, don't forget about the Twitter account. I mentioned that. Without a doubt, the Twitter account is almost always completely up to date I'm not really a tweeter, so I can't say that with 100% commitment, but to the best of my ability, yes, it is up to date with that. So I think that's all I had, unless it went to a third page, Jen.
No, it didn't. That was great.
All right.
Lisa, let me jump in. I actually think she's on here. I think I saw her, but Rayanne, who is one of the managers of the Facebook page, posted something today that I wanted to share with all of you parents that, great job, Rayanne, is that we have an app, a school app, that I highly recommend that you download. One thing that, that I think, I know my daughter's high school does it, but I don't think they do it to the extent that Miss Donnelly does it, is that every Friday she sends a weekly communication. And I would highly recommend that you read those each Friday, because if you want to know what's happening, she definitely keeps everyone informed, and a little recap of the week, what's coming up, what to be looking out for. So I would highly recommend downloading that. And I can also share that if you're having technology issues and you're not getting emails, that Mr. Marino, our director of technology, has a, it's, Joe, if you want to jump me in if I get it wrong, but I think it's called helpdesk@essextech.net, that you can always send an email and just let them know I'm not getting emails or whatever, because those go by email, but they're also weekly put on the app. So that's a great tip too.
And the app, just for the record, can be downloaded for both iPhones and Androids.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
Yep.
So
Yep, for
Kelly,
sure.
if you could just share with us, I know that your both your sons had the opportunity to be members of the co-op program. Can you talk a little bit about your experience as a parent in having your kids go through the co-op program? And then if you wanted to just add anything that we might have missed, that would be great.
Sure, I'd be delighted. I would like to start by saying that the PTO is such an integral part of the school. However, even though I'm on this all-star team of parents here, I've never been to a PTO meeting, but there are other ways to leave your mark. So I hope that you are able to explore all the options for your involvement at the school. PTO meetings are critical, and I do hope that there are more people who can get involved, especially now with COVID. And I do have a little bit of concern about new parents getting involved and feeling welcome and safe. And so this meeting meant a lot to me, and I'm so glad that Jen put this together. It's fabulous. But I volunteered at all of the events that have been discussed here this evening: homecoming events, Holiday Hope, Teacher Appreciation Day. There are opportunities to get involved, even if PTO makes you feel a little bit intimidated, but it shouldn't. So from someone who's looking back now, I do wish I had gotten more involved in PTO. However, I was able to leave my mark through volunteering and some of the other, in the things that the PTO organized. But I also left my mark with, as Jen mentioned, helping to start the first annual 5K. And we also have a mom ball softball team for some of the moms of students at Essex Tech who participate in a Beverly softball tournament. And our students actually run the Snack Shack for the weekend event that is normally in September, but unfortunately won't happen this year. And a percentage of the proceeds from that Snack Shack go to Essex Tech, and it is a great fundraiser. So those were things that I was interested in, 5Ks and softball. And so I was able to bring those to Essex Tech, and I was welcomed with open arms. So there are, if you have things you're interested in and you think might work well into the school and have something to offer, please reach out, because they're welcome to new ideas and new suggestions. But if that seems like too much, then volunteer at all of the opportunities that are there for you, or come to a PTO meeting, because this school will enrich your life as well as your children's, of course. I have been involved since my son was there as the very first class of Essex Tech. So talk about some tumultuous times. My children have been there through being the very first class of a brand new school, and then through the first pandemic in the spring.
Please don't say first. We don't want another
I
one.
know. The first wave. Let's hope again. There's no other wave.
Yeah.
But so as we move, and also through a principal change and a superintendent change.
Mm.
And so I have been involved since day one with those things, and I have witnessed the staff and faculty at Essex Tech respond, and I have been nothing but pleased. And you are in good hands. Your child's best interest is their absolute #1 priority. And I hope that you can see that through the growth and development of your child, but also a little bit closer by getting involved in some of these wonderful activities that they offer. One of the amazing things about the school is the co-op program. And so partway through your child's junior year, which may seem a long way away for your incoming freshmen in class of 2024, but it'll be here before you know it. They will be eligible about halfway through their junior year, and the more specifics will be available to you as that gets closer, to actually, instead of on their CTE rotation, instead of going to the school, they actually will go to work, and they will get paid, and they will get life experience in their chosen career paths. And then, as in my sons, both of my sons' cases, will get full-time job opportunities the day they graduate from school. So I currently have 2 full-time employed young adult men who are thriving in a time when a lot of people are not thriving. They have the skills that were given to them and nurtured there at Essex Tech. My oldest is in carpentry and my youngest is a plumber. So they are both doing very, very well, and their co-ops hired them. Now that doesn't always happen, of course. There's not always job available, and the situation just worked out really well for my boys, but the opportunities do present themselves, and the work experience that each of them had to get up for them sometimes as early as 5 o'clock in the morning to get to their job site. Getting on the bus was hard enough at 6:30. Getting to their job site by 6 a.m. was even more of a challenge, and you'll be amazed that by junior year, your children will be ready for that. You will doubt it. I did, but they will come through because they will learn between now and then how important it is, how rewarding it is. And it's an exciting process, and I'm thrilled for all of you to be involved, and congratulations to you and to your children for being accepted. The specifics around co-op will come to you when the time is right and when it's important, but the experience is integral in their growth and development in their CTEs, and it's something I hope all of your children will be able to take advantage of. So it's great.
Thank you. And while Kelly's son, her youngest child, has graduated, I've told her she can't leave me. She's part of the 5K committee forever. So
right here.
So I wanted to share with you at this time, we do have to end this session by about 5 minutes to 7, because I've got to start the Zoom for your students who are going to be able to play trivia later tonight. We're really excited for that. But if you have some specific questions for these ladies before we let them sign off and thank them for their time, you can go ahead and do that. I just want to remind everyone that it's always, keep in mind that when you're doing questions, you don't want to ask anything personal about your specific child. So I do see already that Rayanne, you're awesome. She put down the information about it's available on Android and on Google for the school app. Mr. Marino provided information on transportation and how to search for the app. So if you check out the chat box on the bottom, you should be able to see those answers. There is a question about freshman integration program, and unfortunately that's not a mom question, that's a me question, but Mr. O'Toole is working on that. I think his goal is to get emails out to families tomorrow. And this is a great question. So we have a question for you parents. What is the single most thing you wish you knew 4+ years ago in order to be a more involved parent? Anyone want to take that?
I think how involved the school actually promotes and wants the parents to be involved. As much as they push your kids speaking up for themselves and doing their own thing, they also want parent involvement as far as like the extra things and just participating in all the school things, whether it's attending the sports events, the football games, the volleyball games, the basketball games, or plays, or the nighttime things that they sometimes offer. It's a very involved school. It was a much different experience for me coming from the middle school that we were at and really not having much communication to an overwhelming amount of communication. It's an amazing experience. I have 2 girls, one that just graduated and one that is a sophomore. And just the difference in our experiences, it's amazing. The school is amazing.
We get better every year, right, Heather?
They do. They really do.
And can I just add that I will say that when my oldest entered Essex Tech, I was pretty tired from my involvement through elementary and middle school. I live in Beverly. We're a big school. There's a lot going on. And I said to myself, I'm not going to get involved. They're fine. They're in high school. I don't know anybody anyway. I'll just blend in and everything will be okay. And maybe that probably is true because they will be in the best possible hands. However, my experience through the 6 years at Essex Tech has been enhanced by getting to know some of the other parents and being involved in some of the things. I was involved in some things that my kids weren't involved with, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. And so there are opportunities for you as parents to get involved. And I think it's, we all know it's great for our kids to see us involved in things, but I swore I wasn't going to get involved. And here I am.
I did as well.
I don't even have any I don't have cards in the game anymore, but I don't want to walk away. I want to stay involved because this school will make you feel welcome. After us getting involved in the first couple of things that I did through the mom ball that I started and volunteering at one thing, the next parent night after that, where I could actually walk through the halls and say hello to parents that I recognized who didn't live in Beverly, was such a great feeling. It's very different when your child is taking a risk by going someplace completely new, leaving behind their homeschool friends, at least Monday through Friday academically. And so I would say you should do the same. Just step out a little bit, take a deep breath. You have a little bit more in you left to give. I know you do, and you will benefit from it as much as your child will. It'll feel good walking through the halls when you recognize a few other faces other than those from your hometown. It's worth it. So I hope you can get involved.
So because I know Mr. Marino was trying to see if we could start up the freshman trivia so that they don't get worried that it's not starting, and we can't do that without ending this meeting. So
Sure.
you see that there's some other things on here, like if somebody could really quickly, I think this is a great parent question. Did you experience growing pains with your students starting a new school? How
Sure.
long does it usually last? As a person who's been at this school for 24 years, I can tell you that every single kid comes in extremely scared, nervous. Right now is probably the time when they get in those butterflies, and moms, you can tell me if you don't remember going through this. But I have to tell you that everybody coming to our school is in that exact same position. We have a great mentor program, which some of the mentors are going to be on trivia with the kids tonight so that they can get to know them. And they're going to come home in 2-3 weeks after school started and say, oh my God, this is the best. I have parents tell me my kid never wanted to get up for school. Now I can't get them to stop going to school. Parents, feel free to jump in on that.
I think once they settle
so
into
good.
their CTE, it's
Yes.
huge. Both of my boys loved the exploratory and thrived in the. Although there's a lot of transitions, and that can be a little bit of a challenge. They're meeting different kids all the time, but not long enough to connect during exploratory. Trust the process and let them find their way through that process with your encouragement. Ask them what they learned during the exploratory. And then once they select and are then chosen into their CTE, those kids will be their brothers and sisters for 4 years of school. And you have to make them hang on till then, for sure. If they're not doing so great at first, trust that once they get into their shop, their CTE, those kids will be their friends. Those 2 or 3 teachers in there will be their rocks for the next 3.5 years once you finally get into the CTE. Hang in there till then, for sure.
A lot of times they become like their second parents, and they become dysfunctional families.
Yes, very true. I will say one thing to prepare yourself for is the long drives to their new friends' houses that live 45 minutes away.
Yes,
That's a good one. That's important.
yes, they'll get their license right away if they
That's
go.
the new yeah, that's the common question now. Is they're like, oh, I made a new friend. You're like, where do they live?
Good point. Well, I cannot say thank you enough to Heather, Kelly, Nikki, and Lisa. You guys are amazing. I really do appreciate, as a member of the staff, that we can reach out to our parents and say, hey, we want to do this. Will you do it? And not one of you said no. You're all like, yeah, I'll be there. So I can't say thank you enough.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Privilege.
All right.
Welcome,
until you
guys.
log on.
See if I can get off.
I'm going to end your
Leave. I got it.
Bye.